A lot of you have commented on our numerous Predator videos of how we should have bought a Honda. Well, today we're going to compare the two because we brought our Predator out here for Labor Day weekend and thought, let's use this opportunity to see which one we actually like better.
Yep.
Hey folks, it's Travis.
I'm Stephanie.
You may have seen our numerous videos on our Predator generator over the last couple years, and we'll be sure to link to the playlist down below if you want to see our maintenance on it and stuff like that. But today, we're going to have a special head-to-head competition for you. We have behind us our Predator, as well as the Honda generator that the U.S. Forest Service gives us for part of our
Hosting duties.
And we're going to compare the two. I've got a sound meter on my phone that I will use, and I realize it's not a highly calibrated scientific
device.
piece of equipment, but it's what I've got. And it just so happens that the grill on our site is 27 feet from where these two generators are sitting. I did some video recording of them both running and used the sound meter, and we're going to compare how they did. Both generators were fully warmed up when I ran them. I gave them both their best chance to be quiet and loud. We ran varying loads. And as you can see with the Honda here, when we were running quiet with a low load, it was quiet. I mean, from 27 feet away with the exhaust facing away from the microphone, we were high 40s, peaks into the low 50s for noise. And
Not bad at all.
no, not at all.
Easy to carry on a conversation. And
Yep. The Predator was the same.
What was that?
The Predator was the same.
Just
If not, maybe just a touch quieter.
Just making sure I heard you correctly.
You did hear me correctly. Now, that's not to say they sounded identical. The tone of the Honda is deeper than the tone of the Predator.
Yep.
So that can make it sound different.
Can affect how the sound is traveling.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. I then went and made coffee with each of these generators. They really didn't change. With a combined 1300 watt load, and that was the charging circuit of the trailer and the coffee pot, and that was as measured by the Predator, because as you can see, the Honda doesn't have a meter. We were pulling low 50s, so less than 50% load on both generators, and it was only in the low 50s. I couldn't complain.
No.
Now, I have to say, it's cold. I could not get the air conditioner to fire because I really wanted to put a good load on these and see which one was louder. But I can tell you from experience, they're the same. There's not that big of a difference. So what I want to do is kind of go over the features of these generators. And I'd like, Stephanie, for you to kind of share your thoughts on which generator you like from your perspective.
Okay.
So the Honda here, it's a Honda 3000 IS. And if I remember what it says on the side of the data plate correctly, it has a maximum running wattage of 2800 watts with a 3000 watt surge. And the Predator has a 3000 running watt capacity with a 3500 watt surge. They're pretty comparable.
Yeah.
But that little bit of a difference, from my perspective, does matter. Especially when we're running the air. Because I overloaded this one twice this year. You may remember that.
Yep.
On the really hot days,
Yeah.
I kicked the air on, and you heard the air go, and then stop.
Yep. It was just
And
a little too much.
the generator revved way up and then came back down.
Yep.
Now, Eco Throttle was on the first time that happened, so maybe it happened because Eco Throttle was on and it just didn't come out fast enough. But the second time, it was hot, and I turned Eco Throttle off to give it its best chance, and it still stalled out. Now, that's not to say it can't run the air. It does, and it generally does just fine, but it did overload on us twice this summer. I don't know what caused that to happen, but it did happen. A couple of things I like about this generator, as we mentioned, it's quiet.
Yep.
The Honda is quiet. It's got a deep tone. It's not obnoxious or obtrusive. The campfire is about 27 feet away. We can have a nice, quiet conversation with it running without it being an issue. And generally, it has enough capacity to do what we want. The fact that the electric start doesn't work is because the battery's dead, and that's not the fault of the generator.
No.
It'd be the same as if the battery died on the Predator.
Yep.
Honda starts first pull every time. No issues there. What are your thoughts on the Honda? We've had this generator for 2 seasons now.
Yep. I like it. It does a good job. One of my complaints is it's heavy. It's a 2-person operation to lift it if you need to. I believe it has a gas gauge.
It does have a gas gauge.
So, that's kind of nice to help keep an eye on that. Otherwise, I can't really complain too much about it. It's a good generator. It's solid. It's been reliable for us when we've used it.
Yeah, and I would echo that. The fuel gauge is definitely nice, especially if it's coming down to, like, it's the last weekend we're going to be here. My goal is going to be to have that Honda empty so that it's ready for the Forest Service to put into storage for another year. And we managed to pull that off last year. We'll do it again. So the fuel gauge is really convenient. I wish it had a readout on it.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
I wish it would tell me the voltage it's putting out. I wish it would tell me amp load, wattage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't maintain it, so I guess the hours on the engine don't matter. But in the same token, if that was our generator, I'd want to know how many hours does it have so that I can keep a regular maintenance schedule.
Yep.
So that's the downfall to this particular generator, is it doesn't have a gauge.
Yeah.
There's no hour meter on it anywhere, which in my mind makes it harder to maintain.
Yeah.
Now, yes,
yeah,
it's
I
a
agree.
Honda. It's going to run forever.
But
and I agree with you. That thing is heavy.
It's...
When we first started hosting this year, we're in our new site, way away from the bunker.
At the opposite end of the campground.
Yep, and this shed wasn't here. So when we would leave for the weekend, or for a couple of days to go grocery shopping and stuff, I'd have to get that thing in the back of my truck to drive to the other side of the campground.
Yep.
I can't put it in the back of the truck by myself.
No.
Either Stephanie or Caden have to help me.
Yep.
That thing is heavy.
Yep.
So, you're right, it is heavy. You've helped me pick it up.
Many times.
The Predator, what are your thoughts on that thing?
I like it. Again, like the Honda, it's been reliable for us. It's been rock steady for us. It is definitely much lighter than the Honda, which is really nice to help move it around, even if one person doing it, because Travis can lift it and put it in the back of the truck on his own if he needs to, so that's a big benefit. It starts nice and easy.
Well, that's because the battery's alive.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'll admit I have not tried to pull start it this year.
That could be an interesting.
Should we try it?
Go for it.
Okay, this thing's been sitting for about 3 hours, so we're going to set the choke, and we'll try pull starting it. I haven't tried it. What the heck? One pull, just like the Honda. One pull, just like the Honda, but I would expect that, because the motor that's in the Honda is a Chinese, or that's in the Predator, is a Chinese clone of the one that's in the Honda.
Yep.
It should be just like it.
One of the downsides to the Predator is it actually does not have a gas gauge.
That is true, and there have been times that we've ran out of gas unexpectedly because I thought there was more in it than there actually was. And until recently, the fuel basket, the filter basket that's in the filler nozzle, made it to where I couldn't see down into the tank. Well, one of the last times I filled it, I accidentally pushed that through, so now I can see down into the tank.
Oops.
But that also gives me the ability to buy an aftermarket gas cap that has a float on it that will act as a gas gauge. So I'm going to add a gas gauge to it.
Yeah, and that'll be nice.
I should note, though, that the current generation of this generator does have the exact same gas gauge on it as the Honda.
Okay.
Because our generator is the second generation.
Right.
The first generation, the twist lock plug was upside down, and people that bought them were either flipping them or finding contortionist ways to keep the twist lock from unplugging. Ours doesn't have that problem. So ours is a second generation. The third generation, they added a gas gauge. So that tells me Harbor Freight is listening to what the customers
Harbor
want.
Freight is listening to what their customers want.
Okay, so the final question, because we have to feed the trolls. We have to feed the trolls.
We need to pick one.
Honda owners, I'm talking to you. Yamaha fans, I'm talking to you. And go ahead and blow up the comments because I'm going to have fun with this one.
You would.
Do you regret buying the Predator?
No.
If we could do it all over again between Yamaha, Honda, and the Predator, what would you buy?
The Predator.
Why?
Cost. It's half the price of a Honda.
Less than half.
Less than half, yes.
I saw this one. I saw this current generator, this model, at a local store for $2,300.
Yeah.
We paid
$600 something for
$650 for that.
So cost is one of the reasons I like the Predator better. It's lighter, so it's easier for one person to move around if need be.
I agree with that.
And thirdly, the difference between how loud they are is hardly noticeable, but in my experience, I almost think the Predator is a little bit quieter. So yes, I would go with the Predator hands down.
You heard it here first. He thinks the Predator is quieter.
Not
All
much,
right.
but
based on my measurements, if it is quieter, it's not much quieter. The big difference is the tone.
yes.
And last year, when you and I were running the two generators side by side, we heard the Honda further.
Right.
And I think that's because it's got a lower frequency sound
and
that would travel through the woods
and
better.
that very well could be why the Predator seems quieter.
But many people would say because the Predator's higher pitched exhaust has a higher pitched exhaust, that the Predator is louder when you're close to it.
And I can see that.
I can too.
I can see that.
I can see that too.
In reality, how many people are going to be sitting as close to them as we are, having a conversation?
Right.
In reality, you're going to be
30 feet
30
from
feet
it.
away from it.
And at that point,
they're very hard to tell the difference.
At that point, you're at quiet office level noise.
Exactly.
It's not an issue. So I'm going to ask me the same question if we were to do it all over again between those three. I'm going to precipice my initial answer with if money was no object.
Okay.
If money was no object, I would go with a Yamaha.
Okay.
Yamaha, in my opinion, is the best of the three.
Yeah, I won't argue with you there.
Not that the Honda's bad.
No.
I feel Yamaha makes a better product.
Right.
Now, I'm going to go back to money is an object because we're not wealthy.
No.
I don't see a reason to buy the Honda or the Yamaha. For our use case of occasionally during the summer and in our fall camping, the occasional power outage, I don't see the point in spending $2,300 on a generator that over the course of 3 years we've had that thing now? This is our third year?
Yeah, sounds right.
2.5 years?
2.5,
we
3
put
years,
105 hours on it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stick $2,300 into a machine that in 3 years I'm going to put 105 hours on.
Exactly.
Now, I'm going to address a couple of the comments that I know are coming. That won't last as long. Okay, we'll assume that's true. Let's say that this one's good for 30 years. Based on my current usage trends, that's easily going to last that long as I maintain it.
Yep.
But let's say it only lasts, with normal usage, 10 years. Okay, 10 years from now I buy a new one with an updated features.
A new shiny one.
A new shiny one. So now I'm up to $1,300 invested. I'm still $1,000 less.
Yep.
And that one lasts
another 10 years.
That one lasts another 10 years, to the point where this one's would now be wore out. I'm now at roughly the same amount invested.
Yep.
So those of you that say, "Oh, got to buy the Honda or the Yamaha because the Predator won't last," if I grant you that, I still say the Predator's as good, if not better, value because it fits our use case.
Yep.
And, okay, so I've got to buy another one in 10 years.
Well, going back to how long they last, no matter if it's a Predator, Yamaha, Honda, or any of the other ones out there, it comes down to maintenance as well. How well do you maintain
And
it?
I have been very religious. It's got 105 hours on it, and I've changed the oil like 6 times now.
Yeah.
I changed the oil 3 times in the first 20 hours.
Yep.
So I get that point, but I'm gonna just say I don't agree. It's not relevant.
Yeah.
And it's a throwaway China. It's a clone of a Honda GX, one of the best small engines ever built. If you maintain it, it will last.
Yep.
So there's our head-to-head showdown of the Predator
Which
versus
one's-
Honda. And I wish I had a Yamaha to include as well,
Yeah.
because that would have been really interesting.
That would have been a fun one.
And like I said, if money was no object, I'd buy a Yamaha. But money is an object, and you don't get to the point of money being no object by wasting money. So,
Yep.
if I had to do it again, I'd buy a Predator.
Yeah.
I've been very happy with it. It's done everything we have asked of it, and I guess that's where we end it.
I guess so.
So, like I said, to the trolls out there, blow up the comments. I'm looking forward to this. I'm not going to argue with you, but I just want to hear your counter arguments to what we brought up.
Yeah.
And maybe you've got some points I haven't thought of, so educate me.
Yeah.
Plus, just be polite about it. Don't be disrespectful because I don't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that I do know I like that Predator. So I'll tell you what, until our next destination, you guys take care, stay safe, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz.
You know the routine by now.
We'll see you guys later. Take care.
See you later.
Bye-bye.